Happy Thanksgiving, and it's throwback weekend here at footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Memory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 12 preview between the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Broncos.
When you look at the Broncos offense this week, you're going to see an offense without Willis McGahee, but that may not be a bad thing because you look at Ronnie Hillman, the talented rookie tailback, what he brings to the table is that explosiveness out of the backfield. So what was 10 to 12-yard runs by McGahee, maybe 25 to 40-yard touchdown runs by Ronnie Hillman. So that element of explosiveness is something that you're going to see this week out of the running game. Now, defensively for the Broncos, attacking Kansas City, you have to attack their strengths, which is their offensive line and their ability to run the football. So look for Jack Del Rio to get creative in his stunt and blitz packages from the interior and also from those linebackers in order to disrupt what they got going on. And you have to look at the defensive ends, Elvis Dumervil and company. Those guys have to make sure they squeeze down, don't allow the cutback, and don't get out of position versus Jamal Charles, because he has that speed like Ronnie Hillman that can take it the distance and do a lot of damage to a defense. Now let's move over to the Kansas City Chiefs in this matchup, and you look at the 5 technique Ropati Piotua. This guy's been playing some impressive football for Kansas City, and when you look at the film, you see what he brings to the table, that strength at the point of attack and that ability to collapse the pocket, and that right there frees up one-on-one opportunities for those outside rushers. So look for him to have a huge impact this week versus Denver. But when you look in the secondary, you look at Jaleel Brown. What can he do this week to match up versus those wide receivers? He has the size. He's 6'1", 210 pounds. He's going to be the starter now, and he's going to have to take away at least one of those main targets of Peyton Manning, which could be Eric Decker or Demaryius Thomas. And offensively for the Chiefs, it's going to be a run-heavy game plan, in my opinion. That's what I would do if I were the coach. You have to look at Jamal Charles, Nate Eaches, Peyton Hillis, those guys running the football and chewing up the TOP keeps Denver's offense off the field, because they are also a ball control offense. They just do it from a well-balanced approach. We know KC right now is struggling throwing the football with inconsistency at the QB spot and inconsistency with the receivers dropping passes. So why not lean on your strength, which is the running game? And I think that can have Kansas City in this ball game to where their talented outside rushers defense may be able to create turnovers and ultimately put them in position to win the game. X factor for the Broncos this week will be their pass protection. They've done a great job all season long, only 14 sacks given up. But this week they face two guys that are very talented in Justin Houston and Tom Bailey. Keeping Peyton Manning clean is mission number one and priority number one for Denver. Now let's look at Kansas City's X factor, which in my opinion is the third down offense. Doesn't matter who you have back there at quarterback, you got to be able to convert third downs. They were 1 for 11 last week. You do that versus Denver, and you're going to get killed. So they have to make sure they stay on the field and sustain some drives. Let's look at the personnel breakdown in this ball game, and for the Chiefs to stay in it and have a chance to win late is going to come down to the defense. Can they stop Peyton Manning at least once or twice a quarter? If they can do that, then they can have a legit shot, because they can run the football, they can chew up TOP. The question is, can they make plays that are needed in the passing game? That's the biggest question mark you have about Kansas City in this matchup. Since it's throwback week at Football Game Plan, we're going to give a shout out to some throwback players for each team. Rulon Jones is my throwback player of the week for the Denver Broncos. You talk about a guy that was very underrated throughout his career, 52.5 sacks, and played his entire career in the Mile High City from 1980 to 1988. And you look at Stephon Page for the Kansas City Chiefs, another one of these underrated players. Page was as consistent and reliable as they come. This guy amassed over 6,300 yards receiving and 49 touchdowns in his career that was played entirely in Kansas City. I like the Broncos in this ball game. Even without Willis McGahee in the backfield, it actually may make their offense that much more dangerous. And I think defensively they will stop the run, and they'll be able to put Kansas City in those backed up situations. Look for the Broncos to win this game in all three facets: offense, defense, and special teams. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Chiefs fan forums and Bronco fan forums for always showing Football Game Plan support.